Getting divorced in your 30s or 40s could actually be one of the best things that ever happens to you. I was listening to the book, The Value of Others by Orion Tarabon, and he was just reiterating the fact that men typically are able to reach their peak value in their 30s going into their 40s. And this is due to, accumulating more resources, more life experience, building more confidence. And I know this is way different than how I used to think. If you're not familiar with me, my name is Johnny Kenthammer. I was divorced at 35. And at the time, I was living in small town Wisconsin. So I was thinking I was too old to find anybody. If you guys are familiar with how small towns work typically, I don't know if this is everywhere, but in Wisconsin, most of the people I knew had started dating their spouse, their long-term girlfriend, either in high school or in college. So they've known them forever. And there's not typically a lot of options. So when I got divorced at 35, I was thinking my life was basically over. I was never gonna find somebody else. At the time, I didn't really understand that I could become a better version of myself. I was just thinking, I'm in Wisconsin, I have my job. At the time I was married. This is how life is. I don't really need to improve. I don't know that I can improve. I was always under the impression that I was the quiet kid, and that's just the way life is. People who are charismatic are born charismatic. So I never really understood that I could actually change. So when I'm 35, I'm not thinking that these are the best years of my life. I'm actually thinking I'm too old. And it's kind of crazy to say that now, because after kind of defining that I could change and that I wanted a different life, my life has actually been way better in my 30s and 40s. I'm 42. I'm soon to be 42 now. My dating life has never been better. My outlook on life, my mindsets have never been better. And it's because I did start to realize that in my 30s and up until my 40s, I'm not stuck. I don't have to be stuck. I know going through a divorce is terrible. I mean, it's terrible. I felt very alone. I felt very stuck. Like I said, I didn't know that I could change. I'm thinking my wife she moved on. She has her boyfriend. So she's moved on. She doesn't have to worry about, never being alone again. But I'm overweight. I'm addicted to video games. I'm in small town Wisconsin. I'm thinking 35 is just way too old. And that's definitely not the case. I thought today I would just talk about how you can make the 30s and 40s the best years of your life. Because if you were like me and you're going through a divorce now, you might feel that you are stuck, that things will never improve, that you can't move on. I know plenty of people that got divorced or separated, a few years ago, and they're still not capable of moving on. And I think some of it might be that they just haven't really recognized how great their life could be. So today's video, I just want to go over just a few things that you can do to really, realize that, it's not too late. 30s and 40s is actually probably the best years of your life. You have a lot more opportunities. Women like older men, so you're not having to worry about, just settling for someone. You can go out and meet tons of different people to see who's going to be a right fit for your life. I think that's very important. The odds of you meeting the exact right person after 1 or 2 dates is very low. It's like if you ever owned a business, or if you had to ever, talk to a bunch of people. The more people you interview, the more likely you are to find the right candidate. And it's the same with dating. So the first step, I guess I'll just stop rambling. It's been a while since I shot a video, so getting back into the swing of things. Hope you guys are doing well. But the first thing that you need to do, if you're going through a divorce, if you're going through a breakup, or if you just want to change your life in general, is you need to be aware of where you are right now. The thing that really helped me, a few months after the divorce, for the first couple months, it's devastating. You're up and down. You don't know. One minute you feel fine, the next minute you feel like trash. You're worried about what she's doing. So just understand that that's normal. This is a huge identity shift for you. It's a big life change. So don't beat yourself up if that's what you're feeling. Just understand that it's part of the process. But by not addressing where you are now or not reflecting on it, you're also kind of limiting yourself, limiting your growth, and it is your responsibility to improve your life. No one is coming to save you. So the first thing you want to do is be aware of where you are. What are you feeling? What is it that you think maybe led to the divorce? Are there things that you could have done differently? Are there situations that you could have handled better? Are there things that you could do to improve yourself now? Just go through and really figure out where you are right now, things you're feeling. Do you feel hopeless? Do you feel like your life is over? Do you feel like your life is getting better? I know a lot of people do feel great after a divorce. So first step, identify where you are right now. Next thing is look at where you are right now, and then what happens if you don't make any changes in your life? Will your life improve? Will you be happy? Do you see yourself living the life that you want? When I was going through this, these are the exact steps I took. I realized very early on that I was really not all that happy with my marriage. There was a lot of times that I thought I would leave, but I also knew that I didn't have a lot of options. I knew I couldn't make a definite decision because I wanted to be a good husband. I felt very proud that I could support my wife. I took her from small town Missouri. I helped her get a job. I helped her graduate college. Helped her, we had good savings. We had a house. We had a car. So I thought I was being a good husband. I didn't want to lose that by getting divorced either. So once the divorce happened and my identity cracked that I was not the best husband, I became aware of that. And then I started to think, what happens if I don't make any changes? What is my life going to look like? If I'm still sitting at home playing video games for 6 hours a night, not working out, not eating healthy, what are the chances that I'm going to ever find somebody new for my life that's going to be a good fit, that I'm not just settling for? I would not want to, I guess I would say I wouldn't really respect the woman that would have been with a guy like me. Obviously, as a man, I want attractive women in my life, and the best way to do that is to become more attractive. So I'm sitting there, reflecting on, okay, I'm addicted to video games, I'm overweight. If I don't make any changes, obviously I'm not going to attract the kind of women I want. So what do I have to do about it? So the second step is recognize what's going to happen if I don't make any changes. And for me, I knew if I didn't make any changes, I'm either going to be alone forever, which I thought I was at the time, at 35, overweight, or I will find somebody, but they're probably not going to be a right fit for me if they're willing to take a guy who has no drive, no goals, no purpose. Like, she's probably just settling too. So then I'm just going to be in the same pattern I was when I was married, where I'm not giving forth any real effort. And, probably the same pattern, get divorced 10 years later, and then I'm getting divorced at 45, starting over. And then I'd still have to go through these same steps. So step one, figure out where you are. Step two, figure out what happens if you don't make any changes. Is your life, are you going to enjoy the life that you have? Are you going to regret it years from down the road? That's up to you to determine. Then the next step is, now that you know what is going to happen if you don't make changes, now find some core traits or standards that you want to live by that will help you become a better version of yourself. So for me, it was, I wanted to learn social skills. I knew that was going to help me make new friends. It was going to help me meet new women. I wanted to work on my fitness. I was overweight at the time. So I knew by losing weight, becoming more attractive, growing a beard, getting a hair transplant, dressing a little more stylish, like those are all things that are in my control that are going to help me attract a new woman. So that was another standard that I started living by. Instead of just wearing the clothes my wife would buy me and just sitting around playing video games, I knew that these things were in my control, so I'm going to start taking those steps. And then I started improving my knowledge, listening to books on tape while I go for walks or driving in my car, learning to be more masculine, learning to be able to express my emotions, get over being such the nice guy where I have to use covert contracts to get what I want instead of just being able to express myself, being a little bit more vulnerable with people, just telling them where I've come from because I don't need to be ashamed of it. This is my life. These are my experiences. They've helped me grow. They've helped me become who I am. So those are some of the standards that I wanted to start living by. Started going to the gym, started practicing my social skills. So now that you know the traits that you want to have, then the last step is to start taking small actions towards that. It was very hard for me at first to kind of build the habits. I don't know if I was lazy or just depressed and sad, because when you're going through this, it's obviously very tough. Your mind is focused on so many things. What went wrong? What is she doing? Will I ever find anybody again? Your mind's gonna play tricks with you. It's gonna keep you in these loops, these patterns, because it's something that you're also familiar with. Your brain doesn't want to change, and if it can get you think about this stuff, you kind of get into a weird kind of comfort. As bad as that sounds, like, people do this with negativity, with guilt tripping, like it's just familiar, so you just keep on this pattern. So the next step is, you start taking small actions that are gonna improve you to become the man that you want to be. So I started making my bed every morning. I started going to the gym on days that I didn't want to. A bad day at the gym is better than no day at the gym, they say. And as you start just building these habits, these disciplines, you start to see some more results. You start to feel better about yourself. You start to see that, you can change, you can become better. The way I started with my social skills is I would just start with 3 small conversations a day, maybe just a quick compliment. I would just go around the office and just ask people how their morning was. This was very uncomfortable for me. I like to keep to myself. I didn't really want to, or I didn't know I could improve my social skills. So, you're getting into you're pushing your comfort zone a bit, going around talking to these people, and then you realize that people are very receptive. And then as you're improving your conversation skills, you realize it's not so bad. Then you can start giving compliments to, women you find attractive, or going out to bars and talking to people. It's just all small steps that you keep accumulating. And you're really not gonna get there if you don't understand the kind of man that you want to become. If you don't know the reason why you're doing something, it's gonna be difficult to continue to do it. So I knew the reasons why I was going to the gym. I knew the reasons why I was practicing my social skills. I knew the reasons why I was listening to these new books, because I knew that, one, I could become better, I could improve. I started to realize that slowly but surely. I realized that the more that I did learn, the more that I did lose weight, the more that I improved my social skills, I'm gonna attract higher quality women into my life, higher quality people into my life. And it had nothing to do with me being over 30. Like, my life wasn't over. If I thought that, then, it would have been tough to do these things. But now that I'm almost 42, I've realized that just by taking control of the things that I can control, it is up to me if I can decide to work out or I cannot decide to work out. But by taking those opportunities, I really realized that these are the right steps. I'm attracting a lot better people into my life. I have a lot more high-value friends. I've had great relationships. I'm soon to be moving back down to Mexico now, so we'll see what that has in store for me next. But this is a life that I never would have dreamt of accomplishing had I not started to take these small steps. So step 1, let's just reiterate, probably rambling a little bit. So step 1, identify where you are. What are you feeling? What are you thinking? What has led to this point? Step 2, what's gonna happen if you don't make any changes? Are you gonna be happy with your life? Are you gonna look back and be like, I'm glad I wasn't taking the right actions, or am I glad with how things are turning out? I know for my case, I would not have been happy if I stayed where I was. Third step is, now that you know you're not happy, or you're not gonna be happy with your life, or what does happen if you don't make a change, step 3 is to figure out what kind of person do you want to become? Where do you want to see your life, say, a year from now, 5 years from now? What kind of relationships do you want to have? What kind of people do you want to be around? And once you can vision that, then you have to start taking small actions to really to start living that life. You don't have to take massive steps immediately. You don't want to overwhelm yourself. Just start small. I did create that free workbook. I'll link that in the description. It's very step by step. You go through and it'll guide you through this stuff. These are the steps that I took, that I had to take to get over divorce. I was very stuck for a long time. I didn't have any sort of guidance. I didn't have anyone I could really confide in. I didn't really want to tell my friends what I was going through. Like, they were already happily married, or they'd never been married. And also, as a man, like, you're just always told not to, I didn't think anyone cared about my problems, so I kept it to myself. But then I started to realize through books and everything else, these are the steps that I can start to do to really see what kind of future I want to have. So highly recommend going through that workbook if you're struggling with anything, especially relationships, divorce. And if you're in your 30s and 40s, I get it. I felt like my life was going to be over. It's very scary when you're in your 30s, especially when you've been with somebody I was with my ex for 13 total years, over a third of my life when we split. She was the only person I could confide in. I had my identity wrapped up as being the great husband. So when that all shatters, and I'm 35, third of my life with this woman, like, I know it was tough for me at first. So I definitely understand if that's what you're going through now. Just know that it's not too late. There are things you can do to improve yourself. You can become better. You can get the things that you want in life. It does take work, but once you know what you have to do, you can start taking those steps, and you just don't overwhelm yourself. Steady progress beats no progress. So yeah, definitely fill that out. I'm just walking through this park now, trying to ground myself. It's something I realized that I don't really do enough of. If you live in a city, you kind of understand, like, it's all concrete. There's really no grass anywhere, like, half the time. Like, I'm not walking on, it's always the sidewalk. It's always in shoes. So it feels good to get grounded. Sun's out, gorgeous day. Gonna go home and edit this video. Then I gotta go to the mall, get some jeans. I dropped all my stuff off because I'm getting ready to move to Mexico. I realize I need jeans now. So I'm gonna go get that and then go to trivia night. I'm gonna do the same thing that I did when I was going through divorce. I'm gonna randomly ask a team if we can join them, and we'll see what happens. This is one of the first ways that I started to make new friends when I got divorced, was that I would go out and just randomly ask, hey, can I join your trivia team? Hey, can I join your volleyball team? And most people are very friendly about it. As long as you're respectful and say, hey, I know this is random. I was just wondering if I could join your team. People are pretty receptive about it. And if you're a good, friendly person, they'll want you to be around. So definitely something you can do if you're looking to make new friends, if you're looking to just get out of the house. Loneliness is not something that is not your friend right now. Being alone is going to just trigger things in your mind of, I don't know, maybe what's not going right, what could happen if this happens. Whereas if you're around other people, it'll calm your brain down and get you a little distracted away from the divorce or the breakup. And maybe you'll meet some quality women, maybe you meet some quality friends that'll help you improve in your life. You never know. So definitely don't stay at home. Don't isolate yourself. Being social and communication is huge. It's probably going to be even more important when AI takes over and we all talk to robots. But yeah, so gonna go do that tonight. Don't really have much else to say. I'm glad to be back. I was stressing a little bit about making a new video, trying to want it to be perfect. Am I doing enough? So feels good to be back. Let me know what's going on with you guys. Hope that you guys are getting some new valuable stuff out of this content. Download that ebook. Yeah, we'll leave it there. So yeah.